And we're live.
Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to Your Time Starts Now, a Taskmaster podcast. I'm Emerson.
And I'm Joe.
And do you have any banter, Joe?
No, no.
Hmm.
I genuinely don't.
Oh.
I
Um, I have a
Nothing has
few odd
gone
things
on.
to say. Maybe it's my turn to go off on a long tangent for a change. Well, not really a
Sure
tangent
thing.
because it's banter, but um. Oh dear, my mind's just gone blank. Um. Okay, so here's some fun news. I don't know if I ever told you this, Joe, but I'm going to tell you it now, and it'll probably be the first time the audience hears it as well. I started pole fitness, which is like a polite, unsexualized way of saying I do pole dancing.
Okay. That is the first time I've heard of that. That is
This is a new. I've only been doing it about 2 months, so it's a relatively new skill, but I'm really enjoying it. I think it's really good fun, and it gets you in really good shape as well.
huh.
Um, I was finally able to go upside down on the pole today.
Okay.
That's an achievement, and it's pretty fucking scary because it's like if you fall, your head is the first thing that'll hit the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I get. That's I'm just trying to picture the mental image of you dancing on the that's a really fun mental image. I'm
Once I nailed the pose because I was able to get upside down, but I wasn't really able to sort of like hold myself properly. But I'll probably be able to master that next time I go. I will get a either a film or a picture or both, and you will see.
Okay. Can I please make my obligatory joke now about how every time about how you should about how I thought you were going to be saying you were dancing with Polish people.
Uh, I mean, you've made it, so yeah.
I know. I think it's really funny, but it's only to me. Anyways,
Yeah. One more thing. So my birthday celebrations didn't quite finish yet. Um,
did you get the card I sent you?
I did. It was so sweet. Thank you.
I'm glad. Did it get before or after your birthday? Because
It
otherwise,
actually went through the letterbox pretty much bang on my birthday.
fantastic.
So that was really good. But yeah, what happened? Are you aware of a UK city called Brighton?
Yes. The illuminations and everything.
Yeah, Brighton is a seaside town in the UK. It's been described as the Amsterdam of the UK for very good reasons.
Okay.
Lots of people do drugs there.
Ah.
Um, but yeah, they've also got like very. I don't really know. I went with my parents, and my mum described it as a very bohemian place, so to speak.
Is hold on, am I mistaking Blackpool with Brighton? Because Blackpool has the illuminations and the thing and everything. Brighton has the
Yeah, Brighton is
Brighton has a
Blackpool's north. Blackpool's in the north of England. Brighton's right on the south coast.
I was gonna say Brighton has a pleasure pier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
That sounds dirty, but it's not. It's an old timey Victorian thing. Listeners out
But
there,
it's Brighton, so it could be either or.
oh goody.
But yeah, there's a small area that's kind of like very bohemian, as my mum described it, with a lot of shops that sell like crystals, vintage secondhand clothing, that kind of thing, right?
Oh, so that's what we call out here hippy dippy bullshit.
It wasn't exactly hippie. It was more sort of like uh, just sort of like it was very alternative,
Okay,
which is very much my style.
okay.
Um, but yeah, it was a cool place, and I got a leather jacket.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture. If you started doing the did you ever do like those
I
imgur?
did. I okay, so this is for future audiences benefit. My compute I've been working a lot. My computer took a shit while it was rendering the
Episode.
second episode of the YouTube video. So the second YouTube video for this season hasn't gone up as of date of recording, so I haven't made the Imgur post to go with it. But the first episode is up with the Imgur post.
Oh, that also reminds me. The final piece of gossip. The series 4 episode premiere, No Time to Fell Ducks. Uh, when I think is our because we should say we don't get a ton of listeners. We sort of average, uh, uh, like somewhere between 20 and 40 listeners per episode. That's our average. We we got to 30 listens for No Time to Fell Ducks, which I think is an impressive goal in about 2 days. That's
Yeah,
the
that's
we
actually
that episode went down really well for some
yeah.
reason.
I'm actually gonna. I think it always the first episode goes
Yeah,
down well.
the first ever episode of our podcast is still our most listened by.
Yeah,
I think it's twice as many listens, twice as listened as the second episode.
yeah. Actually, I'm gonna just pull up our YouTube stats
I mean, if we look on
because
Anchor, is where we upload the podcast to, not sponsored, because they still won't allow sponsorships in the UK. Hence, why we don't make any money from this. We
yeah,
should start the Patreon to get
we
money.
should. We should. It's just that I've asked the listeners, and no one's ever seemed to have had a response to that. But again, this is our like annual update on the things. I'm the YouTube head of this. Emerson does the podcast part.
Yep.
No Time to Fell Ducks has 9 views on YouTube. Episode 1, Like Caveman, has 174.
I mean, to be fair though, YouTube isn't really the ideal platform for podcasting.
It's really not. But
I'm so in a sense, no offense, Joe, but the YouTube side is kind of worthless.
very much so. I'm just hoping that at some point we'll get picked up by the nebulous YouTube algorithm, and it's
If anyone's interested in sponsoring us, please do,
yeah. If anyone
because we
is
need some cash.
well, you need cash more than I do, probably, but
I've got
yes,
a job. I got paid. I got paid on Friday last week.
I
I
get
won't say how
paid.
much I got paid, but yeah.
I get paid too. I do in fact work. So, I mean, I do this for fun, but it would be nice to be sponsored. Although, please, if you are in fact a company that wants to sponsor us, please don't make us blithely read off your ad copy, even if like every other fucking one does.
I mean,
Like,
we could make all the sponsorships task themed. Like, you have X amount of minutes to buy this product using the discount code.
we
This
could.
your
Well, no,
your
no,
time
I
starts
get
now.
that, but a lot of these companies that do podcast ads try and make the presenters seem as if they are in any way, shape, or form interested in. Like, I bought this mattress from a company, and it's like, no, no, you didn't. No one talks about their mattress unless the mattress company pays them to.
Also, I don't. I if we ever do get sponsors, let's have some sense of dignity and only get sponsorships from products we actually endorse. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was
Like,
trying to
for
say. Because
example, if someone like something like Raid's Shadow Legends wants to sponsor us, we're gonna. Do you say no to Raid's Shadow Legends, or do you
I
go
will
with it?
say no to Raid Shadow Legends only if they're cheap. If they're paying us a shitload of money,
If you
I will download Raid Shadow Legends and
if you
play
pay
it.
Raid Shadow Legends, if you want us to sponsor you, you will have to pay us at least £200 each to say something.
Emerson, that's not enough money. I was thinking like a couple thousand each. The
Fair.
like for one of these, like, it's your company's price gets
I
higher.
don't
The
know how much
scummy
people. I don't know how much sponsorships pay people, to be honest.
That's true. I don't either, and but I am going to just say that I'm not a cheap date, and if they want me to talk them up on my own podcast, they're going to have to pay out.
I mean, I'm okay with anything as long as it's in at least in the triple digits
Fair enough.
or higher. Obviously, I'll accept
Hmm.
higher, but if they offer me anything below £100, I won't say yes.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
But Yeah, we discussed that we didn't have any banter before, and now we did have. How much is this? 10 minutes of banter. We're on great schedule. Do we want to get into the episode?
Yeah, one final thing. We should make sure to choose, or at least have some weird discussion about something that could potentially be this episode's title. Because,
Yeah, because last time's was title MIA because we didn't really have anything there. Then again, there's a lot in this one. Like I was actually thinking about which ones I wanted to talk about versus which ones you wanted to, and I want to talk about all of these.
I think we'll have to we'll have to flip a coin. Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Because I the one task I want to do is the camouflage task.
Interesting. I want to talk about all of them. Hold on. I'm going to rummage through my desk, see if I've got a coin of any description. Oh,
Well, the
Euphrates.
thing is though, this is kind of a flawed system because we're not filming it. We can't see each other. We can only
Yeah,
hear
but
each
I'm
other.
honest.
All
Oh
right.
my god, it's here. I'll even let you pick cuz I just you're going to hear all of
All
that cuz
right.
I'm on my laptop. I
Okay.
don't have my noise.
Okay. Heads, I do the prize task. Tails, you do the prize task, and then we
Yep.
alternate from that point on. Okay.
Yep, this is a US quarter. Heads is George Washington. Let's heads you win. Heads you do first.
Tails, you do first. Okay,
Okay.
go.
Heads.
Okay, so that means I go first.
Yep.
I mean, sure, but I still have something I want to say about all
Oh,
of these.
I have plenty of things to say about all of these.
Okay, so oh, I should be a bit careful. So
Also, this is
Taskmaster Series 4, Episode
episode
3,
3.
Hollowing Out a Baguette. So our banter starts with Alex Horn. Alex is currently binging the news and he is up to 1975. What major events happened in 1975?
A lot of things. He was binge. I like how he
Um,
got a box set of the news, so it's also very interesting to know to figure out which news he was binging. Was it the
it'll probably
BBC?
have to. It might most likely be British news.
Um, let's see. British Leyland comes under British governmental control in August of 1975.
Okay.
The first American Catholic saint was canonized in 1975. Elizabeth
In June
Seton.
1975, proceedings in Parliament are broadcast on radio for the first time. Okay, cool.
Muhammad Ali defeats Joe Frazier on October 1st.
Good. Okay, so the actual prize task is the best membership slash subscription. Um, so we start things off with Mel Gedroich. She brings in a quarterly, which is once every 3 months, a subscription to the Crossrail magazine. Moving on, I mean, moving ahead.
Yes, which for our listeners, as this podcast's official railroad consultant, Crossrail is a project being undertaken in London, the capital of the United
We've
Kingdom.
spoken about Crossrail a bit.
We've talked we I don't think we have. I don't think we've
No,
spoken.
I think we spoke a bit about it
Yeah, but
in
Crossrail
one of the
is
earlier episodes.
well officially now known as the Elizabeth Line. Crossrail
Officially,
is a is a underground rail service link going across most of central London, and out into the suburbs at each end as part of a new
oh no,
transport
it
service.
also goes outside of London. Like the
Yeah,
west
it
side
goes.
goes right into Reading, which is
Yeah,
about 30 miles from
yeah.
30, 40 miles from anywhere
It
in London.
extends like to Heathrow Airport. It goes out into Reading. It's under. It's actually like some of the tap gates or some of the furthest out in that end are some of the furthest ones from London.
It's the biggest like rail project in Europe in definitely in 100 years, maybe.
I wouldn't go that far, considering that like 100 years ago they were still doing like grand soaring structures everywhere, but it's definitely one of the biggest ones in the 21st century because the Eurotunnel was
Well, we're
in the
21 years in,
90s.
so that's not a super high mark to set.
So it's fair, but that's a fair point, but it's definitely one of the biggest things to do in a while. I mean, the last major tube line construction was the Jubilee line extension in the
On
ninth into Canary Wharf, and then the DLR before that. I'm sorry, by the way, this is London transport lore, which I'm so into. Uh,
the
and
tube is very interesting, not gonna
and
lie, but yeah.
Crossrail is just actually now finishing up. It's currently under the auspices of TfL Rail and will eventually become the Elizabeth line when it's fully completed. But at the time when this was filmed in like 2018, it wasn't completely done. Hugh notably got to go down into one of the tunnels during a media day, which Mel is very annoyed that she didn't get to.
Also, after seeing the subscription to the magazine, Joe Lycett no longer wants to win the episode.
And Greg is utterly disgusted by this because he just hates this prize from Mel.
Um, Next up is Lolly Adefope, and she gets a monthly box of cheese, which
Yeah, yes,
is good.
it's from a group called the Cheese Society. It says on the side of the box, which she actually
There's a
says
lot of societies involved in. Well, not a
she
lot. There's one more.
she says that it's what binds us all together, cheese, and then you can see Noel Fielding's head snap up right after that
Yeah, and
because he also brought a cheese
yeah,
themed thing.
yeah. So what Noel brought in is a thing called cheese postie, a play on cheese toasty. Although a postie is like a slang for like a postman or postal worker kind of thing. And it brings you the instructions and ingredients for a gourmet cheese toasty every month, which is delicious. And he
Which,
is
to clarify for our North American listeners, a cheese toasty is just cheese and bread grilled on the stove, right?
basically like a grilled cheese.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a grilled cheese sandwich in the United States. I wanted to make sure because otherwise that I was understanding that correctly.
Yeah, that is pretty much. Although you can, of course, add. You can have like you can add ham, you can add tomatoes, you can
Bacon,
add
etc.
bacon. That would be a better segue if there wasn't someone separating Noel and Joe. But yeah, I feel like I would want Noel's cheese toasty subscription
Actually,
uh,
I
the
wouldn't.
most.
I'm going to get more into
I
this
love cheese
when
toasties. I had a cheese toasty today.
I love cheese. I love bread. I love grilled cheese sandwiches. But do you want to know what I don't like? These pretentious food through the mail programs because they send you something that's like, I'm holding my fingers apart as though you can see them, but it's like it's going to be like one cheese toasty and it's going to cost you like $20 a month
Yeah,
for
I
the
get
privilege
that.
of getting this ridiculous amount of food. Like honestly, out
I
of
would have
all of
maybe.
them, Lolly's seems the best because it's a huge box of cheese.
I think if it was maybe a gourmet cheese toasty every week, that would be better.
That's not enough. That's not
All right,
for
a
what
gourmet
you're
cheese
paying.
toasty twice a week. That's about
True,
8 cheese toasties a month.
that works better, but how much are they going to charge for this? Actually, let's Google how much cheese postie costs.
God. We'll
You keep
probably.
talking.
We'll,
Hold on.
okay,
Oh
so
my god. Cheese
moving on
postie is an
to.
homage to fromage. That's it was. Oh, they shut down between in 2018.
That's a shame. Ripped cheese
No.
postie. No, Noel must have been more devastated than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but anyway, on to Hugh Dennis and something that I hope has gone bust. No offense, but he's a part of the Cloud Appreciation Society, and he gets a daily picture of clouds. And
I
I
like the Cloud Appreciation Society.
no, let me finish. And I've written in brackets, "What is wrong with you, Desky?"
What? I like the Cloud Appreciation Society a lot. This is
Are you a
actually
member?
no, but it's really nice. It's like this is a very calm sort of thing as opposed and it's like it's cheap all told. It's not like it's not expensive when compared to everything else.
How much is it?
Well, Hugh said it was £17 a year,
Okay,
which is
that's
like a little more than a pound a month. for to be on the email list of clouds. I quite like that.
I mean, it's not really my thing. Joe Lycett, he's brought in. He gets bacon from Pure and Simple, so he's brought in Pure and Simple
Yeah, bacon through the mail is
from
that.
happy, healthy but dead British pigs, as
Hmm.
Alex says it.
Well, happy, healthy, but dead.
That
Yep,
is literally what I just said.
I know, I know.
Joe,
Anyways, let's
in
go.
case you can't tell, Joe likes to repeat things and make sure that what he says is the absolute resolute answer. He doesn't like anyone getting the final word.
Well, no, it's because I remembered what Alex had said verbatim.
Yeah, cool.
We can
Anyway,
edit that. We can edit that. We
I
won't.
don't think I will. You know, I'm so because I've got so little time. I'm tempted to just make uh, footnotes of all the places where I need to add like sound bites and stuff, and then
I
instead
ac-
of just listening through the episodes, just go to those points and add them in.
I actually did mark exactly when in the episode I wanted you to drop in a soundbite in this one because I
Not
was like,
no
oh,
in not in the episode, in the recording of what we're doing now, so that I don't have to find it.
okay,
But yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, the scores. Uh, uh, Obviously, Hugh Dennis gets last. It's a useless subscription. Mel cut fourth. I feel like a very unfair third for Joe because I don't eat meat, but I think bacon for these people would be very delicious. And Greg's likes cheese, but he prefers to have his cheese in a gourmet toasty form, so he puts Noel just ahead of Lolly.
okay. And
Would you
now
like to do
let's.
Taskmaster Joe?
Boy, would I. Boy, would I. I have never come across something in which I so totally disagree with what Greg has ruled.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Taskmaster Joe.
So, to start with, I'm putting Joe Lycett in last because Pure and Simple, they showed it on the screen. It is like it has to be like 5 strips of bacon in a vacuum sealed package, and that's it. So, first of all, we're coming up against my already stated thing about food through the mail, which is that it's overpriced. I would put 5 strips of bacon on a sandwich just at any time, so it's not like that's going to last me more than an hour. Uh, it's not a lot of bacon. It's expensive bacon, undoubtedly. And then I am inherently suspicious of food through the mail because food through the mail is just the postal service is going to be given too many opportunities to fuck that up. And so if it just sits outside and goes bad and then you don't realize it, you die or you get food poisoning.
I
I
love how
I
you just
re-
casually say that you'll die.
I I'm really not a fan of food through the mail. I never have been. Like my mom will sometimes order cakes through the mail and sometimes the cakes like they're packaged with dry ice and sometimes the dry ice just doesn't
Work.
get it. No, sometimes it's they package it wrong or the dry ice escapes and then it's warm. And that
So it's just a dry
well no, then it
steam. It's just steam at that point.
well no, then the cake is like soggy and melted because it's supposed to be kept cold.
I mean, I don't know how dry ice stays in cardboard, but yeah.
Well, oh no, they send them in like styrofoam. The cakes are sent in styrofoam shipping. They make boxes out of styrofoam.
Okay.
And
You can
and
tell I'm completely nonplussed.
yeah, yeah, it's late for you. I'm trying to go through this quickly. Then I'm putting Noel in fourth.
You're still only
For
on fourth. Wow.
I'm putting Noel in fourth because I really for the same reasons as putting Joe in fifth. It's not enough food. It's way too expensive. It's way too pretentious, and it's being shipped through the mail. No, I don't like that. Lolly's in third because I think of all the food through the mail ones, a big box of cheese is the best value for money. It's the most appreciate it. It's the one that you can most appreciate because it might be like cheeses you might not have access to in your local stores, and it seems like it's a big box, and cheese doesn't go bad that easily. So you can
And if
just do
cheese
that.
does go bad, you could just slice off the end.
Yeah, and then I would have put Hugh in first. I would have put Hugh in first because the Cloud Appreciation Society is really calming. It's really nice, and it's really just it's there's nothing. It's wonderfully inoffensive, and I like it. I like it, and I would have put him in first, except that Mel brought in a train magazine, and so she automatically goes into first. So automatic first place. It involves a train. So Hugh second, Mel first. There, Taskmaster Joe done. On to task one: camouflage yourself. You have 10 minutes to plan your camouflage. After a further 10 minutes, you'll be photographed in position. Your time starts now. So first things first, the task is presented in the main room of the Taskmaster house on the diorama that we've seen a couple of times now, originating with Debayo de la Mesa in the Look Under the Table task from the Strength and Arches episode. Uh, it's the task is actually camouflaged against the grass of the diorama, so it looks really cool, and it's all camouflaged and everything. Also, little note: the shopping cart. There's a little model shopping cart in the middle of the water feature on the diorama, which is a callback to the get the shopping trolley across the
The
water
river task.
across the river task from was
Also
that
in Strength and Arches. In
was oh
series
that
2.
was that was another Strength and Archers reference. Okay, I forgot
Yeah,
which episode.
they're both from the same episode, coincidentally.
Emerson, I don't remember anything anymore, but I'm glad you do.
That's my entire purpose, is just to
Yep,
remind you of shit.
yep. And then,
Okay.
interestingly enough, we're actually not shown how anybody accomplished the task, just the end result. So, we start with Hugh, and these are all put up on the screen in the studio, and Hugh is shown. Hughes is a picture of the front of the Taskmaster house at like dusk or twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh is very well camouflaged. Greg couldn't figure out where he was at all.
No, he did.
Greg,
He guessed that it was something to do with the door.
yeah, he guessed that the front door of the Taskmaster house didn't look quite right, and it's revealed that Hugh is actually he took the door of the Taskmaster house off of its hinges, strapped it to its back, and then stood in the frame where it would have been, which was very inventive, and I really like that. Um, this is a very well done thing for Desky, especially when compared to Lolly Adefope, who she's shown
Sprinkled icing
a.
sugar over her
I was going to get to that.
and her
Yes,
grass.
we were shown a picture of the lawn and the driveway next to the caravan, and there is a green tarp with a very suspicious looking lump under it, just in the middle of the ground. Uh, and Greg, Lolly, like, where is it? Which bit of grass is it, Greg? And Greg actually stands up and points to the lump. It's like, you're there. Which I would actually.
Greg is out for blood, so to speak, when he gets out of the chair.
Yeah, which actually, very interesting thing I'd like to just point out. When Greg actually does that, he doesn't cast a shadow like that he was interrupting a projector, which means that the screen they use for the studio is actually a rear projection screen, like a movie theater, which I thought was very like some movie theaters are, which I thought was very interesting.
Uh huh. Yep.
So that's just a technical note, but yeah, and then eventually they roll the clip, and Lolly does stand up from there, and yeah, it's revealed that in order that she did that, and in order to mask the fact that there was frost on the lawn because they film these in when it's cold, I think in like April or January. She had Alex dump icing sugar all over her to match the frost, and most of it got into her face and eyes, which is about that's like Rushing Kennedy levels of ineptitude almost, but good for Lolly for keeping that streak going. Then then we actually have a really inventive one after that, because after Lolly is Joe Lycett. And we're shown a picture of a bunch of people in striped shirts and knit caps kneeling down with their backs to the camera. It's they are like prisoners shirts with the vertical black and white stripes.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of things to note here. First of all, Joe Lycett actually tweeted out to his 130,000 Twitter followers, most of whom ignored him, that he was doing this and if they could come by and help. But also, I would like to point out that
Al Murray.
this isn't, well, yes, Al Murray is present. Al Murray is one of the people there because Al Murray lives by the Taskmaster house and is seemingly not content to accept that he isn't on the show anymore. Because
Speaking of Al Murray, it's not the last time he appears in this episode.
No, it's not. And also, I would like to also point out that I someone very recently ads came out for Google's Translate service
Yeah.
featuring Al Murray in the Taskmaster. We'll get to that in a future episode, but
we are 8 series away from that, man.
well, yeah, but I figure if once that whole ad campaign wraps up, we can do an emergency episode on those all at once. But but in the comments, it actually said that Al cannot accept. People were saying that Al cannot accept that he's not on Taskmaster anymore, and one person in particular mentioned that in the most recent episode of the Ed Gamble, Stole Our Thunder podcast, Mel actually mentioned that when she was filming for this series, that Al was just there one day.
What?
Al was just hanging around the set one day, which is just hilarious. I wonder if he just sort of hangs around and makes himself and tries to like make himself useful.
Maybe he assumes the role of like an unpaid intern.
Maybe, I mean, maybe he's the production. Maybe he's like, I could be a production assistant. But anyway, yeah, Al Murray is there.
He wants to basically do what Tim Key did and be involved in the show after his series finished.
But another thing I'd like to note is the actual location.
Did you know that Tim Key is the godfather of Alex Horne's children?
Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, considering that, if anything were to happen to Alex Horne, I'd almost bet Tim was involved. Considering he tried to kill him with that meal.
Oh God, yeah. Anyway,
I do want to note one other thing. This photo does not take place at the Taskmaster house. It's in front of like a row of storage units or something. And when Greg asks, because they do the reveal, and they show that it's a bunch of different people, and Greg does not correctly guess which one is Joe Lycett, but it reveals that Al Murray's there, and he asks, was Al just around the train station? Which I guess they filmed it at a nearby train station or something. Is there a storage unit nearby? Emerson, you're a local knowledge. Is there like a storage unit near here?
I know there's a train station nearby, but a storage unit I can't say for sure.
Well, we'll leave that as a challenge to the audience, and by the audience, I mean Spelvin. Where is this set of storage lockers? Because it's definitely not anywhere that we've seen before. And, but maybe it's just like there's actually interesting production note. There are a couple different, like, almost one-off filming locations in this, because the animal task from later in this episode was also not at the Taskmaster estate. So we're going to have to get to that. And but then, speaking of Mel, as I did just a moment ago, Mel's was bad.
Yep.
Mel's was really bad.
All she did was hide her face behind
some
sunflowers.
It's a shot of the main room of the Taskmaster house. Mel didn't think she could leave, so she hid behind a vase of sunflowers.
That is common, depending on how early this particular task was filmed, that is a problem contestants have said they've come across, that if they're given a task inside a room in the house, they'll feel like they cannot leave that room.
Yeah, I guess. But it's just Mel. There are ways to hide yourself inside the room. And Mel just didn't.
I mean, not hide, camouflage.
Camouflage. Well, yeah, I guess. And then speaking of hiding
Greg's
slash camouflage.
before you go on to Noel
Oh
Fielding, I
yes,
just
that's right. I was going to say there's a really good soundbite at 12 minutes and 40 seconds in of just everyone laughing at Mel's attempt. If you could drop that in.
I mean, it's ultimately useless because the picture won't accompany it. Although, if we have the IMGA file, then
Yeah,
yes.
we will.
But yeah, what I just want to say is, I love the Vincent van Gogh motif of the series. This series,
Hmm. Yeah.
because obviously with the Van Gogh style painting of Greg, and the sunflowers.
Hmm. Yeah. No, there's a bunch of different art motifs in this.
Yeah.
So we're going
Oh,
to
sorry. Anyway,
th-
on to little Noel Fielding himself.
on to Noel Fielding. So Noel's work is shown. There's a picture of of the interior of the caravan, and there's a bowl of fruit on the table, and nobody can tell where Noel is until they roll the thing, at which point it zooms in and reveals that Noel's yellow tracksuit, boiler suit,
Jump boiler suit,
whatever.
it's called.
What I wasn't sure if his is hooded, so I wasn't sure if it was different, but Noel has concealed himself in the bunch of bananas through the use of a green screen. And I really am conflicted on this one because it it's camouflaging yourself, but at the same time, I actually had to it felt wrong, and I actually had to look up the definition of camouflage in order to sort of get it, because camouflage is disguising yourself in your surroundings. And then the problem with what Noel did is that
Is that he wasn't actually in the fruit bowl. He was on a
he
green
didn't
screen in front of
yeah,
it.
he didn't shrink down and become the size of a banana like he's Ant-Man. He just stood in front of a
Or
green
Banana
screen.
Man. Banana
So,
Man's like an actual British comic book superhero.
oh dear.
Not
We
not
could
like a full like a 1 or 2 page panel comic book kind of thing.
we could get into that, but I want to keep this going just to make sure that we're on we're on schedule. But anyways, yeah, I really think that Noel it shouldn't count because this is not camouflage. This is video editing. Like, actually, when we do Taskmaster Joe in a second, I'm going to get into this a bit more because I don't think that a lot of these works were effective camouflage. Because, like, Joe's, for example, all anyone would have to do to find him was walk around to the other side of the group of people. And same with Mel. Like, Lolly and Hugh were the only ones that were good because were like actual camouflage, because Lolly's was terrible, but at least, she's attempting to hide in the grass, and that's what like Army Special Forces do, albeit with advanced ghillie suits and other stealth technologies of that sort of nature. And Hugh was honest to God was amazing. He hid himself directly behind the door. Unless you try and go in the building, there's not going to be any way you're going to be able to tell that he's there.
I
So
guess not.
so
Should
I
we do
just
Taskmaster Joe?
yeah, can we play that?
Taskmaster Joe.
So
So
what do you think?
so yeah, based on what I just said, I'm going to give Hugh first place because Hughes was great. Hughes was honestly the best one because it didn't involve any camera trickery. It didn't involve anything else. It was just
I love how you have such controversial opinions,
it because
but it makes it interesting.
if you're looking for Hugh Dennis and you're just walking by the house and you don't go in the house, the door is perfect camouflage.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I'm going to give Joe second because the way that the task was presented, with it just being a static photograph, perfect camouflage, absolutely wonderful. The problem comes when there is, if you were just trying to, if the thing was like camouflage yourself from Alex, all Alex would have to do is walk around to the other side, and there's like 8 people, Al Murray and Joe Lycett. But on the other side, losing yourself in a crowd by having a group of like 9 different people all dressed the same is a very effective form of camouflage, provided you're
Mm,
like in a spy thriller or something. So that's actually not a terrible way to do it. So he's second.
okay.
Lolly's was not great, but she's got her mind in the right place. If she were smarter in the terms of materials, she could have done a lot better, but I'm giving her third. No fourth
Fair.
place. Mel's gets fifth because Mel's was like, the jokes were made about like a toddler with no object permanence, and that's absolutely true. And then I'm going to disqualify Null because Null was concealing himself on a green screen and was camouflaging himself on a green screen. And if you turn the image processing off, congratulations, you've got Null Fielding lying down in front of a green screen, and that's not camouflage. And so, yeah, there's your controversial opinions.
I cannot wait to see the heated discussion that will arise from this, if
I
there is any.
If you have a heated argument about this, please do leave it in the comments. It'll drive interaction, or send us an email at
I mean,
ytsnpod@gmail.com.
I mean, maybe ultimately we're not really doing this for any other people other than ourselves.
Oh no, oh no, but I like interaction. I
We
like
get to talk
interacting with
about
people.
Taskmaster, and
Yeah.
people can just binge the podcast at some point, and they can see how far our recording skills have come and how you have not changed and how much you talk.
Oh my
Anyway,
god. And then, anyways, scores that Greg did. He put Null first. Hugh and Joe got joined second. Lally got fourth. Mel fifth.
yep.
So,
So, my turn to take a
yep,
task now, I suppose. Um, VT Task 2, which is a team task, make a trailer for Taskmaster the movie. And I think it should be noted that the task is presented in video form,
yeah, it is.
and it begins with Al Murray's Murray Vision banging the gong where the wig falls off,
Yep.
which was only seen a few episodes ago in the final finale of Series 3.
It's
Because
still
it's
one
an
of my favorite things from that episode.
I can see why, and also literally, I think that we should make a drinking game where every time Mel says something positive, you have to take a shot.
Yeah, but then you die. And we already did prepare for alcohol poisoning as a episode title.
Uh, um,
Can this episode's name be "And Then You Die"? Because I think that's the second time that's come up.
can we really put the word "die" in the title of an episode?
Yeah, why?
Prepare to, should we say prepare to perish,
No, "And Then You Die."
and then you die, and then you perish?
Why? What do you? Why
Because on
can't we
on
put the
YouTube
word "die"?
on YouTube you're not allowed to put the word "die" in the title of your
That's
video.
very discriminatory against German people who use "die" as "d" is their word for "the." What is the worst that is going to happen? The 9 people who watch this won't see it. I think we'll be fine.
Should we just I don't know what should we call this episode? Hello, 9 people.
Hello, 9 people. Yes. Yes, we absolutely should.
Okay. Hello, 9 people. Shout out to you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Mel, as well as calling everything brilliant, basically just drags you around everywhere, and he's just like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yep.
Um.
And
Anyway,
this task specifically produces one of the best results of a task, I think, in the entire show to date,
uh,
which is what Mel and Hugh come up with.
Taskmaster.
Yep. Which
I think
to
we kind of have to do sound bites.
we do, but I'm just before we drop that in, Tugtemeister is
I get to
Mel.
explain it.
Okay.
Taskmaster is Mel and Hugh's Siberian crime drama thing.
Scandinavian.
Scandinavian. Sort of like Fortitude in a way.
Yeah.
Which was a very brief, like, crime thriller thing set in a very northern town in the Arctic Circle.
It's like a lot of Scandinavian crime thrillers, which they're really good. My mom loves them. I love Beforeigners on HBO Nordic, so I've definitely watched them. Mel actually,
I don't know what
I
that is.
I it's HBO for the Scandinavian countries. Don't worry about it. But
Okay.
I don't know what language this is. I used to, but I forgot. I think it's Swedish. But
I mean,
when
we
I
don't have
originally,
HBO here. Game of Thrones was broadcast on Sky Atlantic in the UK. Or Sky Atlantic, I think it was.
But
which is coincidentally both air and water.
Yes, it
as
is.
Hugh Dennis makes reference to in Mock the Week.
Yep. But anyways, what was I saying? Yes. No, yes. I don't remember what language the Taskmaster's in. I think it's Swedish.
Something like that.
Might not be.
Should we play it?
Well, yes, but I just want to say that there was a comment that I saw, and I can't find it again from when I first watched this.
I want to shut you up. So yeah.
From when I first watched this ages ago, Mel's accent is apparently perfect for whatever language this is in. That's all I was saying. I don't remember which language that is, but it's apparently a very good one based on the opinion of some YouTube commenter who speaks the language. Now let's play the soundbite.
Sagi Björnsson. Taskmaster. Truls. Hugh Dennis. Nej! Koppelagen, nej! Nej!
Yeah, Taskmaster. I'd watch Taskmaster.
I would too. The ratings are down. One of you must die. Your time starts now. Is just that card is just such a good thing. And see, hey, there's die in there too.
I mean, gotta love a little bit of death every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell we're tired?
I was waiting for you to talk. I'm fine.
Okay, Joe, Lolly, and Noel. Those two need like a team name.
They do have, well, Desky and Mel, and then
Jolly,
Joe, Lolly, and Noel have
Joely.
No, they do have a team name. Alex says what it was, and I thought you.
I was making up my own.
Oh, I was going to say, because Alex actually said it, and I didn't write it down because I figured you'd know it, and so I have no idea what it is.
Should we call them Joely as like our personal team name for them?
Why not just mush them really together and just have it be Jolene?
I mean, I was gonna sing Jolene by Dolly Parton, but I think we'd get copyright struck if anyone gives a shit.
If you're good enough to do it, you should. Get a copy.
Jolene. I was struggling with that high note. Anyway, they make a trailer for a proper trailer for the series
for Taskmaster the movie,
and Alex plays all the contestants. Like he plays. I didn't write down what the edited names of them were, but he puts on like Hugh Dennis's attire, which is like the blue shirt and jeans. What I love is when Alex has got the bucket on his head and hands and knees. I listened to Hugh Dennis talks on the official podcast about this episode, And he said that until Alex knocked the bucket off his head when he was walking around as Hugh Dennis, Hugh genuinely thought that was him.
Oh my god. No, I'm this one's funny, but I really don't like it as much for some reason. I think it's because they went in a different like a much more like crassly comedic direction. I think it's because we're gonna have to play the soundbite for this one as well. When Joe, because Joe Lycett's doing the narration, Alex
I
plays
know.
everybody except himself and Greg, which is played by
I think that's the joke.
Wally
Noel is
and
Greg
Noel,
and Lolly is
respectively.
Alex. Yeah.
And
Lolly as Alex Horn is something I don't want to ever see again.
yeah, and Joe's Joe's narration of tiny little bitch puppet Alex Horn, it rubs me the wrong way for some reason, and I'm really not as much of a fan of it as a lot of other people are. And especially when it comes up against Tugtemeister, which is like amazing.
Yeah,
It
this was a very Route One trailer, and I feel like the joke was very obvious with sort of Joe, Lolly, and Knowles, whereas there's like they were sort of trying to force a joke. Like Alex is playing everyone's names are spelt wrong, but the Tugtemeister thing is just sort of like it's not trying to be funny. It's just the premise of it is so bizarre. It's like I feel like I feel like Tugmeister was the Taskmaster equivalent of Squid Game before Squid Game was a thing.
Yeah, almost. It's really it's also just really good. It like I like have all the comments on the because there's all the comments in like the episode are like I want to watch Tugtemeister. I want to watch Tugtemeister. Why is Tugtemeister not a thing? So
I feel like if Tugtemeister was a thing, though, it wouldn't be as fun.
I it would depend on how seriously they took it. Like if it was taken 100% seriously, it would probably be really good. But
The
you
thing
would
is, though,
have to,
you couldn't make Tugtemeister without the comedic and undertone intentions.
yeah, that's the problem is you'd have to like commit hardcore for it to be a Scandinavian crime
Mm,
drama, and anything less than that, it would fall apart.
mm. Um, and weirdly, it would have been broadcast on BBC One, not Day,
Yeah,
which is what Taskmaster would have been on at the
yeah,
time.
the Taskmaster the movie trailer that Joe and Lolly and Noel made is on BBC One, which doesn't really make any sense considering that BBC One didn't really broadcast comedic stuff anyways. Like I think even Top Gear was on BBC Two. Like all the comedy stuff was on BBC Two or Three.
Yeah, BBC One is very big projects
Yeah,
that
it's like, good morning, this is the BBC World Service, coming to you live from Alexandra Palace, London.
all
Like
the
that's
yeah, all like the really funny big, all like the big, more funny, light-hearted programs or programs that sort of exist purely for entertainment come from ITV, I think,
yeah, ITV, Dave, Channel
or
4.
Channel 4, the biggest free streaming service in the UK.
What about Channel 5? Do they do anything?
No one really gives a shit about Channel 5. Channel 4 is the channel of the people in the
Mm-hmm.
UK. It's completely free, so you don't need a TV license to watch anything. And yeah. Anyway, the scores are Mel and Hugh get 3 points each. Joe, Lolly, and Noel get 2 points each. Do you have any Taskmaster Joe?
I do a little bit, but it's very short. So can we like
Okay.
play the Taskmaster Joe theme at like triple speed?
Taskmaster Joe.
Yeah, Greg says that there are 5 total points available to be split between everyone. He gives 3 points to Mel and Hugh and 2 to Joe, Noel, and Lolly. I think that Tugtemeister is so good that I'm going to give Mel and Hugh 4, and I'm only going to give 1 to the other 3 because they did the task. They did the task, they did it well, but it just doesn't stand up against what they were up against.
Mm-hmm.
And then on to task 3, which is mine, but just as a note, the ad break is in between these, which the idents for each commercial break have shown Alex on a treadmill. In this ad break, the treadmill starts to smoke. Like smoke starts billowing out from under it
Like
with
it's
each
starting to
successive
malfunction.
commercial break until like in the very last one where Alex is now like flat. Is like it looks like he's flying over top of a cloud because of the smoke. It's just funny. We're not going to mention it other than right here. Although I would like to point out that if this is the same treadmill that they had in the last one, they just sort of knocked off Hughes basketball and used the treadmill for a prop. Because if this is the same treadmill they used for episode 1, then
Yep.
Hughes basketball is not present. Or they filmed that first. Either way, interesting to note. Task 3, dogs. This task is persuade 3 dogs to stand on the red mat. Exactly 12 legs must be stood on the red mat at the same time. Fastest wins. Your time starts now. This is not the only task instruction we get this time, because, and this is genuinely what they said, is that Lolly's task for this was filmed first.
And then there
Lolly,
was an outbreak of avian bird flu.
yes, and so Lolly's task involved chickens, which was
Bark.
persuade 3 chickens to stand on the red mat at the same time. Fastest wins. Your time starts now. Notably, Lolly also had ducks in her thing, in her area too, which also I would like to
She
point
asks,
out.
are some of them not chickens?
Yes, just some
And
of
also,
them.
sorry, I just want to use this time to insert a very appropriate soundbite.
Look at all those chickens.
Oh my god. Really, Emerson?
I couldn't not. It's literally when I re-listened to that, that was the first thing that came into my mind.
Oh my god. Anyways, I would like to also make a setting comment on this, which is that this task takes place in the backyard of a house that is not the Taskmaster estate, nor is it any place that we have seen before. And I'm not sure if it's been seen since. This is just some random backyard in a house. Although, this is actually a very interesting thing because they were in the back of the house, but everyone clearly went through the house because they knew that there was food inside of the house. So I'm very curious as to how that all went. Because we're going to just we're going to talk about these people out of order for a second. For when for Joe, because Joe, Noel, and Hugh.
Have you already spoken about Lolly, or are you going to talk about her?
I'm going to talk about Lolly separately because the girls, Mel and Lolly, both were shown separately, and then Noel, Hugh, and Joe were all shown at the same time. So I'm just going to talk about them really quick.
When you say real quick, do you mean like 15 minutes?
No, I mean 3 hours, Emerson. Buckle up. Anyways, Joe and Hugh and Noel all immediately realized that the best way to do this is to persuade the dogs with food. They had all apparently been shown the inside of the house and knew that there were sausages inside. This all very quickly, they got sausages, they fed the dogs. All 3 of their completions involved dogs partially standing on the mat, so that like there were like 4 dogs or something, but like some of them had their legs off. Joe had a dog like rear up onto its hind legs, and that counted as like with the correct number of legs. And Hugh actually asked Alex, because it doesn't specify that it has to be all dogs' legs, so Hugh said, don't my own legs count? And then Alex immediately blew the whistle because there were 10 dog legs and Hugh's own 2 human legs. And then Noel just sort of did it correctly.
They'll just sort of did it.
No, yeah. I mean, The times really don't matter as much, but because of what Joe Lycett did, because Hugh did it in 6 minutes 51 seconds, Noel was 6:28, and then there was Joe Lycett who did it in 44.6 seconds. So the scores of
Modern day miracle.
everybody else are just utterly irrelevant.
You
But
can't really do Taskmaster Joe.
no, we
But it
can't.
should be mentioned that Lolly gained a few extra
Yeah,
points.
well, we're going to talk
the...
about that at the very end of this. For Mel's is very different because Mel began to encourage dogs with treats. Like she was saying, like, "What's in my pocket? What's in my pocket? Come over here," and then realized that she didn't have anything in her pockets other than her driving gloves, and that the dogs would probably riot if she didn't get them some treat. So she ran into the house, acquired the sausages, and then, for reasons unknown, stuck them into her driving gloves, and then is like it has
Which
to
Greg has not heard someone use since his grandfather in the 70s, and even he
Yeah.
thought that they were completely out of date. I
Yes.
just said it, so you don't need to repeat it.
Indeed. In fact, Mel wasn't even driving on that day because this clearly was a shoot this was a location shoot. So Mel was driven by someone else to this location, so she wasn't even driving. And yet she still owns these driving gloves. Much fun of her is made about this, but she specifically I believe there was one no, there's a joke made about this later, which I'll mention when it comes up. But Mel does it in 14:24 and gets her gloves covered in like sausage oil and juices from that.
I mean, what was she expecting, really?
I don't know what she was expecting. Then finally we have Lolly, because as we mentioned, Lolly had different animals, and her task was persuade 3 chickens to stand on the red mat at the same time. Fastest wins. Your time starts now. She gets them in 13 minutes and 40 seconds, which a couple things to start with. Why didn't she just pick them up? This was asked first by me, and then as soon as they showed it, Hugh also asked that. She said, could she not have picked them up? Alex's immediate response is, or killed them. And then Hugh goes, or killed them, in response to that, while miming, like, wringing a chicken's neck and killing it, which is great for people who think that he is like acting like a serial
The
killer.
psychopath that he is.
Yeah. Greg determines that Lolly's task was 20% harder because chickens are hard to wrangle. So, and chickens are like bastards. So he gives her 2 extra points. Which,
I was going to call chickens rats with wings, but that's pigeons.
That is pigeons. Although I would like to just point out that Mel agrees with the fact that Lolly gets 2 extra points, and then is given immediate whiplash because Greg immediately says that Mel gets 1 point. Like, that's the next word out of his mouth is Mel gets 1 point and Lolly gets 3. And Mel's just utterly bewildered by this.
Okay.
Also, fun note from the audience, when Lolly's time of 13 minutes and 40 seconds is announced, one woman in the audience starts laughing, assuming that the rest of the audience is going to laugh at this pitiful time of, like, it takes you that long to get chickens onto a mat, and no one else in the audience even remotely thinks it's funny, and no one on stage does too. And so you have like 2.5 seconds of this woman laughing, and then she just sort of realizes that she's the only one, and she just stops.
I didn't notice that.
It's right when if you can find that sound effect, drop it here.
What was Lolly's time for getting 3 chickens onto a mat?
13 minutes and 40 seconds.
Right.
Under quarter of an hour.
Okay.
What's it of? I'll edit this out, but what's it of? What's the bit before
it? It's when Lolly's time is announced.
Okay.
It's during Lolly's chicken bit. It's someone
Okay.
just, there's a woman in the background who just starts laughing and realizes, and then very quickly realizes she is not the only one who thinks this is funny.
Okay. We'll come back here.
Yeah.
So you
And
can't really do Taskmaster Joe, I
no,
think I
no,
said.
there is
But
no Taskmaster Joe for
but we
here.
should state the scores. Joe gets 5. Lolly's additional points brings her to joint second with Noel, so they get 4. Hugh gets 3 and Mel gets 1. So there's one final VT task.
Yeah.
Transfer water between 2 fish bowls using only the supplied items. You must also commentate on yourself in the third person. Also,
There's
if you eat any of the chocolate, you'll lose 5 points from your overall score.
Yes, and it should be noted that the chocolate bit of the task was written in very small print on the back of the paper,
Yeah, trying to catch you out.
and it did
Th-
catch
this is
everyone out.
well, yeah. Well, only two people ate chocolate, but this is what Alex means when he says all the information's on the task.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to be very careful. The more Alex says that, the more you realize that you have to be careful about what
Yeah.
everything he means.
Although he didn't really say all the information is on the task at this point in the show. He starts saying that much later.
Anyways, we'll start with Lolly. I'm doing this one.
Yeah.
So they can touch the fish bowls, they just cannot move them. And so what Lolly does is she just pours water from fishbowl A straight into fishbowl B, completely disregarding that.
No, she doesn't. That's the really funny thing. She actually does this in the same vein as in the same vein as
Frank Skinner high-fiving multiple people to make up a 55-year-old?
No. It's oh my god, I can't remember her name because I'm really bad at this.
Were they on this series? On
No.
Taskmaster?
Who was on the girl from the first series that I talked about like 5
Roisin
minutes
Connerty.
ago? Roisin, Jesus Christ. Maybe I'm more tired than I think. Can we edit that out? Anyways,
No.
thanks. Anyways, Roisin, when she was asking Alex to breach the pies, and where she just made it difficult for herself by not looking, because what Lolly does is she picks up fishbowl A, puts it next to fishbowl B, and then pours fishbowl A into like a plate, and then pours the plate into fishbowl B.
Oh, yeah, she does. That's stupid.
Yes!
She broke the rules and she didn't even do it to her
Uh-huh.
advantage.
Uh-huh.
The more you shout, the more it makes me want to shout, and I can't shout because it's 10 to midnight.
Oh
here.
dear. Well, let's very quickly keep going.
And she repeatedly, but the best part is the clip of her reading aloud, "Do not," without moving the fish bowls, is just
Yeah.
inserted in at random points.
Yeah.
And poor Lolly's face in the studio the whole time is just in her hands.
Yeah, because she read the task out loud and just
And then she
just
says, "I didn't know it said you couldn't." Was it? I didn't know it said you couldn't move the fish bowls.
I don't know what she thought, but I guess she must have just read it and just sort of like not internalized that. So I'm not entirely certain what her thought
It
process
is.
was there, other than just not one happening.
Anyway, Lolly is completely DQ'd.
Yeah.
Mel immediately has a piece of chocolate, so she loses 5 points from her score. And then she tries sucking the water out through one of the items is a cling film tube, and then spitting it into the other fishbowl. It's all right, but it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
At least for Mel, which is stupid because Joe Lycett does something very similar, and he absolutely smashes the task until he discovers that he too ate chocolate. Sorry to sort of jump ahead a bit, but yeah.
Actually, Mel and Noel both tried to siphon water. Noel used like a snorkel through the cling film tube, and it didn't work. Continuing the Taskmaster tradition of contestants not knowing how to boil eggs or siphon water.
Yep. These people, Taskmaster really is a show where people just forget basic human instinct.
Mm-hmm.
Like
basic adult skills.
I cannot wait to talk about David Baddiel in Series 9. Well, Rabbi, you certainly drive a hard bargain. That was David Baddiel's one and only line in his school play. And
Oh,
he
wow.
claims it's the most Jewish thing he ever said.
My God.
I feel like that could be a future episode title.
I think it should be.
Not this one, because Hello Nine
Yeah.
People is.
Yep.
But anyway, Mel ends up using the rubber glove, which discovers it has holes in it. This is just Taskmaster doing the thing where it's like adding hindrances to all the things that seem useful. But she keeps using the glove, even though the cling film method was probably the best. And she only gets 74 milliliters in.
Yeah, I don't think
About
Mel had the
1.3% of the water.
I don't think Mel had the lung strength capable to hold the water in place.
No, no, not really at all. Noel, he tries sucking the water out, but doesn't like it either. But he just keeps doing it. Good on him. And he gets 115 milliliters, or
Yeah.
or
And keep
2.3.
Yeah, this is out of
milliliters.
5 liters of water. And
Yep.
then yeah.
There's not a whole lot to say about Noel. Joe smashes the task. He again goes with the sucking method to a much greater extent. He keeps doing it,
Yeah.
and he gets 97% of the water into Fishbowl B, and the
Yeah,
other
he-
3% inside him.
He did not commentate on the
Yeah,
on what he was
but
doing.
that's not
much
what
to
he's
the-
docked points for.
Much
Instead,
to
he's
the
docked points for
annoyance
eating.
of Hugh.
Yeah, Joe was docked 5 points because he ate some chocolate.
Yeah.
And speaking of Hugh absolutely. If you should have got points for commentary, I think, because Hugh was by far the best at the commentary.
Yeah, and it helped Hugh out a bit because he was so busy commentating that he didn't have time to think about eating the chocolate.
He can't use the rubber glove, so he's hollowing out a baguette. Title drop.
Yeah. Well, he figured out. Yes, title drop. But he actually figured out that if he just sort of held the glove in a certain way, he could actually make it work.
I didn't write down Hugh's final volume of water.
I didn't either. I don't think it's said, but I know he got 4th place.
Oh no,
he got 4 points.
set.
4
he got
points.
Yeah, but which coupled with the points lost for the chocolate means he got the most points in the task.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got the most points, but he didn't win.
Yeah.
Technically.
Which it also should be pointed out that they did not reveal the chocolate rule until after everyone else had been shown going through the task. And they'd shown prominently that Noel had said he wanted to be sad and lie down and eat chocolate. Mel had been snacking on chocolate the whole time, and Joe took a very triumphant bite of the chocolate at the very end after having gone through all that effort.
That was just sad. That was just sad.
Mel is especially funny because she's at negative points now and tries to be nice and take on the negative points of Joe because she
I don't
thinks
think
that,
I don't think she's in exact negative points.
She was at negative 4 points, and she was
no,
like,
but
"I'll
she
just take on."
She ends the episode. Well, before this, Mel has.
I don't think she actually loses points, but she tries to also take on Joe Lysette's.
At the end of this task, Mel has, including the docking of points.
Did they actually dock her points? I don't think they did. But
yeah, they did. They did. She was on 7 points at the beginning of the task. She gets 1 point for beating Lolly, who was disqualified, which puts her on 8. But then she eats chocolate, which takes her down to 3. And she doesn't get any more points in the live task and finishes the episode on 3 points.
Okay, well, she tried to actually also take Joe's negative points so that he could have.
Did.
And
Mel Gettridge is so lovely, even though it just backfires in her face.
Greg did not allow her to, and just has this wonderful soundbite.
We make the rules, sausage gloves.
Anyway, the live task.
And then, Noel didn't eat the chocolate. I'm sorry, Noel didn't eat the chocolate.
No, it was just Joe and Mel.
Yeah.
So the scores at this point, with the live task left, Noel's in first place on 19, Hugh's on 15, Joe's on 14, Lolly's on 12, and Mel is behind on 3.
Yeah. Yeah, this went very badly for
But,
Mel.
but I have to respect Mel because she always remains so peppy and so positive, and
Mhm.
I wish we had more people like Mel Gedroych in the world.
Yep.
She's just like the kind mum everyone loves.
She is. The problem, if only she could be as competent as she was kind.
I think she's a smart woman, but Taskmaster doesn't bring out
Yeah.
people smart. Like David Baddiel, again, is a very, very smart guy, but Taskmaster wasn't exactly his finest hour.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to wrap this up quickly in the next
I do.
5-ish minutes and talk about the
I
live
do.
task?
The live task is thankfully not, hidden away from the cameras this time. It is taken in turns to say a 5-letter word whenever the music stops. You may not say a word that has been previously said. If you fail to say a word by the time the music has started again, you will be eliminated and the game continues with different length words. There's a couple musicians on the stage, presumably part of the horn section, Alex's band.
They do look
They're,
like it.
they're playing the song Midnight. A couple
Cute little
words go
song.
couple words go back and forth. Hugh says the word Swede really emphatically, which draws a laugh. And then Mel, just for reasons unknown, shouts out Wembley, and
Which is, depending on
she's
which means different things where you're from. If you're in British, it'll mean the biggest stadium in the country. If you're American, it'll probably be a character in Fraggle Rock.
What's Fraggle Rock?
It's a Jim Henson show.
I haven't watched all of Jim Henson's catalog. I actually knew it as the tennis stadium.
That's Wimbledon.
Yeah. Oh, well, never mind then. I know Wembley's a stadium. I thought they played tennis there.
No, Wembley's where they play like football or rugby, isn't it? Wimbledon is where all the tennis is at.
Well, whatever. I'm glad I'm not on a sportscast, British sportscast. Next they go to 6-letter words. Lolly's out in this one after Noel Fielding says fishes. Lolly says fishes, and then immediately tries to cover by saying, I was thinking of the plural of fish, which is fishes.
Yep.
Goes to 7 letters. Hugh says Sweden's.
Twice.
Which, well, the first time he says it and says that there's an apostrophe implying that it's the possessive of Sweden. And then Greg says, okay, but we're not doing any more of that. Hugh says it again and then is out.
Sweden's is probably my new favorite word.
Yep.
Because I can just imagine like several Swedes going, just a lot of like Swedes going, "Spindebüde is a cooked turkey."
Hello to-
Swedish chef in it. Another
Also,
Jim
hey-
Henson reference.
Hey, Emerson, I would like to point out that I was somehow correct. The Wembley Championships were a men's professional tennis tournament held from 1934 to 1990.
Yo, that's not the... Are you sure?
So, at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, but Wembley is not where all the where all the tennis takes place, sorry.
I know, but I was still right. God damn it.
Nope.
I was correct. It just wasn't current tennis.
Nope.
Anyways, finally, 2 letters. 2-letter words. And
you can only go at this for like 7 or 8 rounds.
Yeah, Noel Fielding loses because he doesn't speak in time after Joe Lycett goes.
And
which
Joe
means
wins.
that Joe Lycett wins, which means that there is a 19-point tie for the lead between Joe and Noel, which goes.
Do you want to take the tiebreaker or should I?
It's up to you. I figured
I know what, I want you to I'm going to set up a timer. I'm going to set up a time. I'm going to see how long it takes me to explain the tiebreaker task. Okay, ready?
Okay, am I timing it or are you?
I'll time it because there'll be a bit of a delay on your end. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Joe and Noel both have to decant a bottle of wine from one bottle into another bottle while sat on an umpire's chair. I don't exactly know how long they have to do this, but it doesn't really matter. Joe manages to decant the most wine by pouring it straight in. Noel just gives up and drops the glass of wine onto the bottle of wine, onto the other bottle of wine, somehow getting 16 milliliters, but it is nothing in comparison to Joe's 79 milliliters winning him the episode. 23 seconds.
I would like to point out that
Oh,
Noel
God.
didn't know there was a time limit. And so when Alex was told that he was at the end of the time, he just sort of went, oh shit, and just dropped the bottle out of desperation.
Yep. You basically just repeated what I said again.
I didn't. You said that he'd done it that he dropped it like out of laziness. He dropped it out of desperation.
What does it matter? It's a tiebreaker task.
I want you to think about what you just said. And what does it matter? It's only the tiebreaker.
Well, it's to decide the episode's winning. It's not really one that people are supposed to take massive amounts of enjoyment and remember as one of the greats of the series.
That's fair.
Unless it's to round off the David Baddiel mentions, there's a task where they have to. You've probably not seen Series 9, but there's a task where they have to lasso Alex, which was originally intended to be a tiebreaker task, but David Baddiel's attempt was so bizarrely stupid that they kept it in as a regular task. That's something to look forward to.
Oh dear, I will have to.
Anyway, Joe Lycett, in a shocking turn of events, wins the one episode he doesn't want to win.
Yep, which he immediately goes up and causes havoc on the stage because he goes up there and just flippantly knocks aside the Crossrail magazine, reaches through the rest of them to find the Cloud Appreciation Society sheet, throws that over his shoulder in disgust, and then reaches into the box of cheeses and starts throwing them into the crowd to like distribute them amongst the masses. The third throw of which smacks into the camera that does the wide shot in the middle, and he actually goes, "Did I hit a camera?" And that's like the last line of the episode. Also, one final note from and actually the camera even shakes, which is really funny. One final note, in the credits they mention that the studio is Pinewood Studios in London, which, to keep it in theme with what we've been talking about this season, that's where they filmed James Bond. That's where they filmed the James Bond series, is at Pinewood.
Ooh. Spooky conspiracy.
Spooky conspiracy. Maybe that's how Hugh Dennis got to be on, is he knew someone at the studio.
Probably. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. I'm tired as fuck. I don't know how tired you are.
I'm tired as fuck. I'm not tired at all. It's only 7 p.m.
We're going to end on Joe Lycett asking if he hit a camera, and that'll be it from us. My microphone is moving like a bitch. I've been Emerson.
I've been Joe. Good night.
And here's Joe Lycett questioning if he hit a camera. Good night.
Did I hit a camera?